would do this often. She went out for a walk. She calls it walks with the Lord. And she was crying out to God, God, I'm scared. God, I'm 15 and I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do, God. I love this child with everything in me, God. God, I don't know what to do. And she finally got to that point where she was crying out to God, God, you don't know what this is like, God. God, you don't know what this is like to give up a son. Jesus has a reputation of being near broken and messy and taking the broken and messy pieces of our stories and creating beauty out of ashes. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And the need for adoption was created out of brokenness. And when we go back to Genesis and we read of the creation of the world, how God formed the heavens and the earth, the first verse in Genesis, how God formed the heavens and the earth, spread out the seas, spread out the skies, put the stars, hung the stars, created this beautiful garden, created man in his image, and walked with man in the garden. And in the middle of the garden, we read about how he put a tree of the knowledge of good and evil and said, do not touch this. If you do, you will surely die, and it will separate you from me. And then we read how sin entered the world, separating us from the God the Father. And it was in that moment the entire world became a spiritual orphanage. And the rescue mission of God the Father began. I've got to get my family back. And you know what? In that moment when sin entered the world, God could have destroyed the earth. He could have said, this is too broken. I don't want this anymore. He could have left. He could have walked away. But what does he do? He calls out to his creation, steps back in the garden, and begins walking with his creation there in the garden. The need for adoption was created out of brokenness, and our stories are rewritten through Jesus and the cross. Jesus stepped into our brokenness, a brokenness that he did not cause, but he took responsibility for. And God the Father sent Jesus to the cross to pay a cost to adopt us into the family of God. And because of his love for us, we are now redeemed, forgiven, and set free. And we've been given the love of a family through the joy of adoption. God's cost to adopt us was infinitely greater than anything that we can imagine. And it was in that moment when that 15-year-old girl cried out, God, you don't know what it's like to give up a son, where God the Father responded to her heart and said, yes, I do. I gave my son for you.